Perhaps the largest, most impactful legacy from my campaign, if you will, was actually the launch of my next and current business, the one that I currently own. So let me tell you about how that came about, because it, just like I've been promising you all along, you will see how this will connect back to Peter and his family. So like I mentioned in the previous video, running for office is not meant for working class people. It's meant for rich people. And something I will touch on later is how incredibly lonely it makes you and how incredibly isolated it makes you. And there are actually very few people you can talk to who have a similar experience and who you can, be open about this kind of thing with. And again, these are all things that they don't tell you, and I'm not here to discourage anybody. I'm here to talk brutally and openly about my story and the mistakes that I made and how y'all can learn from them. Anyway, so when it was clear that we were going to need an additional funding source, my campaign manager suggested, why don't I become a tour guide? Now, this was something that I've actually always wanted to do. Always wanted to be a tour guide. I always felt I'd be really good at it. I have a lot of passion for San Francisco. My family's been here for a minute, so I can actually speak. I have some skin in the game, and the accuracy, etc., actually matters to me. And I like telling stories. I like imparting information, and I like to give people the best view possible of the city that I love and the city that I will always have a connection to, not only because I'm from here, but because if I do everything right in this life, I just want my final breath to be taken here in San Francisco, and I want my remains to be here too. I know that sounds the way it does, but the fact remains. Anyway, I digress. So I answered a Craigslist ad, somebody looking for a tour guide. And long story short, I started working for a big corporate company, the San Francisco branch, and I got the trial by fire. I got the trial by fire because where do they start you? In the most touristy part of town, Fisherman's Wharf. Guess who at this point is now working full-time at a restaurant on Fisherman's Wharf? You guessed it, Peter. And of course I mentioned that for a reason. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get back to tour guiding. So the first two tours that I trained on, typical Fisherman's Wharf tour, the most touristy thing you can think of. And then there was a 6-hour, what they called the full day tour, which was the Fisherman's Wharf tour in the morning. And then it added Chinatown, North Beach, Financial District, right? So that's what I started out with. And my campaign manager said that this would be a good way to get me out in the community. It's pretty flexible, with the hours that I need to put in for call time. And she was 100% right. 100% right. Now, here's what I did. So even though initially I started working for a bigger company, I currently and for a while run my own business, and I am not affiliated with any company. I will absolutely get to that because, again, what do you know? Surprise! Peter's also involved in that too. The day that I stopped working for the larger company, he was actually spending the night at my place. So again, I'm getting to that a little bit later. But so anyway, okay, so because I was in the middle of this political campaign, right, and I was now taking on another job, or a job, right, I guess technically I have two jobs, running for office and being a tour guide to fund running for office. I decided that I was actually going to file an LLC, so limited liability corporation, under my name, Eric Curry Co. So My tour guiding company, The Native Experience, is a subsidiary of Eric Curry Co. LLC, Eric Curry Co. Limited Liability Corporation. I did this for a couple different reasons. Most importantly and overarching, I wanted to very clearly and distinctly separate my campaign from tour guiding, any money and revenue that I would make from that, keep them completely separate, mostly for tax purposes. The other thing was I very quickly knew and realized that my role as a guide and what I was going to do as a guide was very quickly going to be much larger than this company. And I realized that there would, I quit again. I've been a small business owner literally my entire life. I'm not going to get into that. Y'all can read my book for that. But I've always made my own money, except for like work study jobs. I'm a hustler. That's just how it is. So I could already tell that I was going to be doing some kind of consulting work, some kind of work outside of the big corporate company that I worked for. So that was another reason why I formed my limited liability corporation. My pet care business, Eric Curry's Pets, was a sole proprietorship. I never turned that into a limited liability corporation. Anyway, just saying that. So this brings us to May of 2021. May, my 28th birthday, in the middle of May. And I just remember telling my future boss, my supervisor, that I would be ready to start after my birthday. And as of the recording of this video, I have personally led over 530 tours. So I led my 500th tour July 5th, I believe, of this year, 2024. Again, like I've been saying, all of that's for a reason, but I'm also a bit of a stats junkie, right? Kind of gotta be when you're a small business owner.